Hello, welcome to Stage, Screen, and In Between. I'm Helen Proimos, and today we have with us the very lovely Michelle Ciardulli, who is the co-chair lady of the Long Island Motion Picture Arts and Museum. Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
My pleasure. Can you tell me a little bit about the Long Island Motion Picture Arts Center and Museum? I understand that they kind of operate separately. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's a very long title, the Long Island Motion Picture Arts Center Museum. And we do a lot of different programs. We try to shorten the name because it's such a long title to LIMPACM. Sounds kind of funny, but that's kind of what we decided to shorten it to. And yeah, we do a lot of different programs. We have a motion picture museum because on the end of the title it's the Long Island Motion Picture Arts Center and Museum. The museum is separate than the Film Arts Center. We do everything between film programs. We offer to adults, to children, to teens. We teach them how to do film production. Yeah.
Yes, I understand because you're a very busy lady. I understand that this summer you had the first film camp that you offered. Am I right?
Absolutely. We did the film camp for children and teens, and we kind of like merged them together. So we had children that were like 8 years old to like 16, and they all worked together. They created a wonderful film, and it was called The Crossroads. It was a wonderful film, and they were actually, we taught them everything from storyboarding to script writing. They actually were hands-on with film equipment. And the movie that they did was Crossroads. It was called The Crossroads.
And what was the purpose of that?
It was a really good idea that they thought of. It's basically the idea of, so many people say, oh, don't text and drive. But believe it or not, these kids decided, I guess because they can't drive yet, because they're 8, and they were like, oh, you know what would be interesting is like, what are the dangers when you text and you walk in the street and, if you're not looking at the cars or anything and you're just like texting.
That's very interesting because we hear a lot about texting and driving, but what about texting and walking? Because I did see a clip once of someone falling into a fountain. Do you remember that going back? But people can be crossing the street, texting, and really get hurt, So tell me, how many weeks does this camp last, and how hard is it to participate in something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. They had to create a film in 3 weeks, which was very impossible, but it was done. And it was just like, we worked with them, and we even taught them about like the history of motion pictures. We taught them about how, the cameras was, because a lot of the kids that, went to the camp really didn't know anything about a camera or a tripod. They were like, what's that? And I'm like, oh no, this is, I was like, this is a tripod. And by the end of the camp, they were actually, holding the camera and operating, knowing about sound. They held the boom, and sometimes, the shoots are obviously long and their arms got tired, but I was like, nope, you could do it.
Do you just do your own camp, or do you have any affiliations with some nonprofit groups?
Yeah, the camp was actually done at Malloy College. They were very nice enough to say, you know what, we believe in what you do, because, no one really does a camp for children that they could operate film equipment. Malloy College was like, you know what, we're going to try this program. It's done at the Madison Theater, which was like a brand new theater. And, we really appreciated their, support with us. And
So tell me a little bit about your museum. Now, I understand that you have some interesting people in your museum.
yes, we do, actually. We have a few, like a lot of interesting. We have Humphrey Bogart. We have Marilyn Monroe. We have John Wayne. We have E.T., phone home, which we don't have a home for now, but we have like a lot of interesting pieces. And
I have a question. When you bring a likeness of someone like Marilyn Monroe or Humphrey Bogart or John Wayne, do the younger children, do they know who these people are? Do they know that they're legendary?
well, the funniest story, I'm glad you asked that question. was and there are you by an airport by any chance? No, but anyway, yeah, we actually brought John Wayne, who for those who don't know who John Wayne is a very popular kind of Western actor, and he had our character, the John Wayne, has a cowboy hat, and we brought him to the film festival of a high school. And I won't mention names because it's kind of embarrassing for them. But yeah, we brought them in, and the one student was like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited! It's so cool to see Chevy Chase." And I'm like, "Oh my
Can you
God."
imagine? I mean, that's what it's come to, right? As time goes by, they associate with the newer talent, right?
Yeah, and apparently they don't have a history of motion pictures film class in their school. 'Cause
Now, let me tell you, what are some of the goals for your art center or museum? I understand that you're looking for a new museum, and that Ed Mangano is really very interested in helping you with that. Could you tell us something about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really great guy. We had a meeting with him, and
For those of you who don't know, he is the Nassau County Executive, right? Ed Mangano. Okay.
yeah, and he's a great guy. And yeah, he really wants to support the arts in Long Island. And we actually have been having a lot of film production in Long Island. They did Salt, they did Man on the Ledge, they did Avengers.
Yes, so he's very interested in the independent film industry in particular, correct?
And our goals as a arts organization is to support independent filmmaking. We also have lighting and grip we have cameras, we have all the equipment to shoot a feature film, but independent filmmakers, they have a certain budget. And, our goal is to work with them in their budget. We're not like, a huge company and a studio. We want to, we're here to support the arts. And that's so important when you're working with independent filmmakers. They have a certain budget.
What is the difference between a 4-year film school and something that you would have to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. There's a lot of film colleges, and once you're done with the degree, that's about it, and you're kind of, every day looking for film work and everything. We're here to support the arts. A lot of people in Long Island know us as being helpful, giving our equipment out for them. And we are here to network. So if there's a student that is here and really interested in film, after they work with our film camp, we try to get them to have an opportunity to continue their film programs. And we put them on a film set and work with us because we're really here to really help them and their life goals is to be on a film.
So, Michelle, you've told us about your summer film camps, but I know you're very busy year-round. What else do? You have some projects going on in community centers and libraries. Could you let us know about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. We do workshops for children, teens, and adults. And for the children and teens, we do something called line animation. We also do a program called stop motion, and we also do for movie special effects. And I'll tell you briefly about the line animation. Students get to draw on real 35 millimeter film and 16 millimeter film in light boxes. And at the end of the session, they get to see their own animation at the end of the class.
Oh, that's amazing because animation is so popular right now. Now, also, when you have a red carpet event or you screen one of the movies, can you bring any life-size figures with you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question you asked because let's say, for instance, you show the movie E.T. We bring our life-size wax figure of E.T. and it has the little M&Ms at the the bottom of it that kids are trying to rip off, but and eat. But no, we bring all our statues. If it could tie into the movie, we could bring it, and it adds an extra element to it besides just showing the movie. It brings excitement. Kids actually run to ET. A lot of the parents push the kids out of the way.
I was just going to say that not only the children, but I imagine that the parents, really love that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good for all ages. And speaking of all ages, we do programs for adults as well, and it's called History of Motion Pictures. And we bring in our mutoscope and our Mitchell camera from the 1950s. I won't say how old those students are, but some of them are like, oh, I know this camera. But yeah, I mean, we do it for all ages, and it's called History of Motion Picture. We go to libraries, we go to community centers. We've actually gone to atriums, and we go all over bringing our special museum pieces to.
So now, what is coming down the line for you? What is your goal?
We have a lot of goals. Hopefully, we'll get there. We want a facility. That's our main focus right now, and we just want to be able to have a beautiful center that we could bring in our motion picture pieces, because Humphrey and Bogart and Marilyn Monroe want a home. We want basically people of all ages to go to this facility, to be hands-on with some of our pieces. Like, you could actually operate the Mitchell camera from the 1950s. It still works. The mutoscope is a 1920s piece out.
You know, with drive-in movies being a thing of the past, I was very excited to attend a screening that you had in a park this summer, and it was on a huge, huge screen that you brought. Can you tell us about your movies?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I know you were there for Frozen, which by the end of the summer, because we work with different towns and different organizations, there was we played Frozen at every single park, and at the end of the summer, I can't tell you how many times I was singing "Let It Go" the whole summer. That's all I heard.
That song does stick in your head. It's a great song, isn't it? A great message in that song. Listen to it.
But yeah, we do outdoor movies. And we go to parks, we go to schools, we do for organizations who create outdoor movie for fundraiser events. And for those who don't know what outdoor movies, besides showing a movie outside, what we do is we bring in a large inflatable motion picture screen. We bring in the projector.
How big is that screen?
Our biggest screen we have is a 40-foot screen, which is like 3 stories tall. I mean, it is massive. And
how long does it take for you? Because isn't that, you have to blow that up, am I correct? How long does that take to inflate?
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, the setup takes a long time, but the actual inflating takes about like 15, 20 minutes to blow it up. And
that's not bad at all.
No, and it's really funny because people, they don't know how big it is when we're setting up, and they're like sitting right in the front, and they're like, oh, are we going to be able to see? And I'm like, don't you worry. And then when we blow it up, they're like totally amazed.
I think it's wonderful, and I could not believe. Didn't you have, how many hundred people were there at that screening in the summer?
Yeah, we had over 2,000 people. It was
thousands, not hundreds. Yes, I knew it was very crowded. It was very crowded. Can you show us some of the pieces that you have, or, But you know what? Before we do that, there's some friends of mine that knew you were coming. Actually, they're your friends. And I'm just, guilty by association. And they've come by to see you. And I think I see them coming through the yard right now. Oh, well, Michelle, I'm so impressed. She knows the best people. How did you get them to come here today?
Wow, this is actually Humphrey Bogart from Casablanca, his whole suit. And I told him, you know what, why don't you dress like you did for Casablanca? And he showed up. He was really nice to do so.
Oh, I'll say. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. You must be melting. Did you bring your trunks? I'll let you go for a swim. He's not in the mood.
He's bashful.
Yeah. He's shy, believe it or not. A lot of celebrities are.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. This first piece is very impressive because it's from the early 1900s. It's 92 years old, not like me.
What is it?
It is a 92-year-old hand crank projector. And we use this piece in our children program for our line animation. What they do is the children draw on professional 35mm film, and we actually put their film right into the hand crank projector, and we crank it up the whole time, and we show them their animation, and they
so
love
this still works. So
yeah,
this is something that you're using in your film camp?
Yeah, absolutely. This is just for the line animation program, and children get to see their own film, which is impressive.
Wow.
with a 92-year-old camera that works.
Yeah. And what is this? This looks like another projector.
These came from Europe, actually, and you're right. It is another projector, and it's from 1906, and it still works as well. See, a lot of our pieces in our still working.
Yes. Well, you take good care of everything.
we
You can
do.
see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He looks well fed.
Yeah, he does. He's getting a little belly there.
Now this looks like some kind of a rowboat or lifeboat. What is that?
This is a lifeboat from the James Cameron 1996 film. And this is a model miniature.
The Titanic.
Yeah, the Titanic. And a lot of pieces were from the James Cameron that we have here, and I'll get to them. And this is a model miniature of the lifeboat.
And now this is some kind of a viewer. You want to explain that?
Yeah, this is actually a really fun piece. But yeah, children would be like, what is this? But this back then was a 3D movie that children would be so excited to see. They would put it on and they would be like, oh wow, this is their 3D movie. But if you give this to a kid today, they're like, where's the computer? Where's my iPod? I don't want this.
Where do you plug it in?
I know. And yeah, it's a very interesting piece. This is the Terminator head, and it glows in the dark, the eyes, and it's really scary at night. I know it's not scary so much in the day.
You'll get a lot of use out of that for Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween's coming up. I'm going to stick this in the window and scare the kids. And yeah, we're going to go on to the next piece. This is from the 1996 James Cameron, and this is the first class plate.
China.
Yep, the first class plate. We kept it clean. No one ate out of it.
And it's beautiful. Just look at the workmanship on that. I love that color. It's like a blue-green and the gold.
Yeah,
Such detail,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. And they used a lot of pieces, and we were very excited to get one of the pieces.
Yes, that's impressive. That's impressive.
This I love to wear every night. I put it on. This is from the James Cameron film. It's a studio replica necklace of the piece of necklace that she threw at the end of the boat, and I was like, no, don't do it. But yeah,
the heart of the ocean.
yeah, the heart of the ocean necklace.
Yes.
And while we're on the Titanic theme, this is original piece from the James Cameron film also, and it's a life vest that one of the extras put on. Wow. And they shot it in New Mexico too, where the water was
I
warm.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's an interesting fact. I tell my students all the time about the Titanic. And this is one of the pieces. We were very
Well, it gives you the chills, doesn't it?
It's very nice. I put this on when I can't swim. Okay, on to our next piece. That's very exciting. And this is from The Godfather 3. The actress that wore this was Sofia Coppola. And this was actually a dress, but we got the top part I wanted to show you. This is what she wore on the final scene. I won't give it away, but it was on the step, and you may cry. But yeah, this is the dress, and look at how tiny she was.
She probably still is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Wonderful. That's like a size 0 or a size 2.
Look at all I could wear when I go to a gala. I got the necklace, I got the dress.
Got it all going on, girl. You don't want to show up in the life jacket, though.
No. Speaking of dresses, this is
Marilyn, legendary Marilyn Monroe.
yeah, and this is from her film 7-Year Itch. And this is her dress, and it has the fan, and it's her famous shot, and we're very excited to have this in our museum.
Is this the actual dress from the movie?
Yeah, well, this is her detailed dress of how the lining was and everything, and even on the face, you can see the detail with the teeth and the lips. And we bring this to our red carpet events and everything. Even though
People must go mad when they see that, because this is so impressive.
yeah, they do. Everyone wants photos with Marilyn, and of course, we can't forget Humphrey. Everybody wants pictures with Humphrey as well.
Bogey.
Yeah, and we'll go back to him because I know he's so upset and he's not even looking at us, and he wants to say something, I think.
I see you keep these two separated.
We do purposely. There might be trouble in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll go.
Well, I'm loving seeing all the things that you have in your collection, and I know that this is just a sampling. Am I correct?
Yeah, we have so many more pieces, and this we just figured we'll take out some of the pieces to talk about, but we have a lot more in our collection. We have a large science fiction collection. We have a lot of pieces. We have a life-size piece of like the Star Wars and everything. So this is just one example of our sci-fi.
Right. So that's why it's so important for these pieces to have a home that the children can come in and view all these things and get an education.
Yeah, because there's so much film history when you look at this table between the 1900s, early 1900s to like modern films in 1996, and we have a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every piece is very worthy of being displayed. I love every piece that you have. Excuse me, what is it
Right.
again?
It's a 1920s mutoscope, and this piece is still working as well.
Yeah.
And what you do is you put the quarter in right here, and it's a 2-minute Western film, and you put the quarter in,
And you turn the handle?
yeah, and you turn the handle, and this is how they watched movies back then in the 1920s, and it's a mutoscope, and it still works and everything.
So that's back when they had like the talkies, right?
Yeah, absolutely, a talkie movie. You're very good with film history.
Well, I do like it. I'm not that old, but I've heard about
No,
it.
you're not from maybe 20s. But yeah, no, this is, and it's amazing to see what children really loved back then. And they were very excited to see this from the film history of, just turning the handle. And
Yeah, well, that's all they had.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, film came a long way from the 3D movies with the glass. It's just so amazing technology.
Leaps and bounds now.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining me on Stage, Screen, and In Between. I'm Helen Proimos. See you next time.